What's up guys, back with another video. Today's video is part 2 of the Apple iWatch, what we can expect so far. Now I personally absolutely love Apple products, so I'm very much looking forward to the Apple iWatch release. Now the Apple iWatch is scheduled to be released sometime in 2014. Now in my opinion, there's 4 things that Apple needs to accomplish before releasing their first generation Apple iWatch. And the first off being design. Now obviously this is going to be a watch, this is something that's going to be a fashion statement somewhat, so this needs to be something that's appealing to the eye. Now, Apple is also said to be possibly releasing 2 versions of the Apple iWatch, one for men and one for women. If that's the case, then there's going to be 2 band options as well as 2 screen sizes. Now, the second thing that Apple needs to accomplish is battery life. Now, up to this point, rumors have suggested that Apple has only been able to accomplish up to 2 to 3 days of battery life. Rumors have also went on to state that Apple is not satisfied with 2 to 3 days of battery life, but they're looking for 5 to 7 days of battery life on one single charge. There's also 2 more possible forms of charging the battery as well that Apple is exploring, one of those being solar charging and the other being motion charging. And in my opinion, I think that both of them implemented along with a battery would equal for a very long-lasting battery life. Now it is said that the Apple iWatch is going to be capable of solar charging due to the fact that it is said to be made out of complete sapphire glass in the front. And motion-based charging is definitely an option for them as well. And up to this point, motion-based charging is found in more higher-end watches such as Bulova and Movado. Now, in my opinion, I think solar charging is somewhat of a bad idea when it comes to a tablet and a smartphone. And the reason for that is that you're always placing your smartphone or tablet into a pocket or a backpack, which is obviously a dark spot and is not going to get sun. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always tried to keep my devices out of direct sunlight. Now, a smartwatch that goes on your wrist, on the other hand, is definitely going to be exposed to the elements, therefore would be a smarter idea to use solar charging for. And number 3, Apple needs to convince us that this is something that we want, or better yet, this is something that we need. And in my opinion, since Apple's adding this whole new category of smartwatch to their ecosystem, I think they're definitely going to have to emphasize on how much we need it. And in my opinion, they're going to have to do that in a way that is similar to the way they did it with the iPhone, the iPod, as well as the iPad. So I think with that much enthusiasm, if they can show us that this is something that's going to enrich our lives rather than just something that we're going to place on our wrist and spend a couple more $100s on. Once again, key features are going to have to be emphasized on, such as Siri, how well it is integrated into the smartwatch itself. Now, a whole nother element of the Apple iWatch that people haven't really talked about yet is that Apple could possibly release an Apple iWatch app store, which in my opinion, I think they're really going to, because there's going to be separate apps for the iWatch. So this is going to be a whole new category in app making for developers. And it's going to be interesting to see how Apple implements the smartwatch apps into the Apple App Store. And the 4th thing is the price. Now, Apple has been known to create very high quality items, but then tack on a very high price tag. But that does come with quality. I think Apple needs to really hit the nail on the head when it comes to a price tag for this smartwatch. So with that being said, Apple's going to have to definitely hit a sweet spot when it comes to the price tag. If Apple does release 2 versions of the smartwatch, both a woman's and a men's version, I think the woman's will be $199, while the men's version will probably be about $249. And one thing that we can pretty much count on for sure is that Apple's going to heavily emphasize Siri into the smartwatch, and that is because they're going to focus on voice commands. Now, being able to implement various voice commands via Siri is going to be a definite selling point for the smartwatch. And I also think another huge feature that Apple's going to implement and heavily highlight in the keynote when they release the iWatch is going to be FaceTime on the iWatch. So you're going to be able to visually see face-to-face the person that you're talking to on your wrist. Now, I also think that Apple's going to heavily implement fitness into this iWatch, but I think it definitely needs to be way more than just a fitness band. Now, I think Apple will implement some very important features into this iWatch, such as glucose and blood pressure monitoring, which will definitely appeal to the health community, which opens up a huge number of people, including anyone from a young child all the way up to an older adult, which would possibly be using this smartwatch just for the sole purpose of the fitness and glucose and blood pressure monitoring functionalities that are going to be available in the iWatch. Now, Apple is also said to be releasing a new application in iOS 8 called HealthBook, which is going to be directly tied into the Apple iWatch. Now, with that being said, that makes me think that the iWatch is going to be released alongside of iOS 8, which of course is only released with the newest iPhone. So that means that the Apple iWatch could be released alongside the iPhone 6. Now, if Apple does implement sapphire glass on the exterior of the Apple iWatch, that would definitely implement a very nice scratch-resistant material, which would help to keep your Apple iWatch looking very nice with no scratches. So let's quickly touch basis on some of the health features that Apple will possibly be implementing into the iWatch. Now, this particular category has already been bombarded with health and fitness bands and wearable fitness technology monitors. So Apple will definitely have to release the next big thing when it comes to fitness. Now, one way that Apple could take a huge leap into the health industry is by making their devices MFI capable. And what that would do is it would offer up the ability for your smartwatch to connect with the devices that are in the hospital, and therefore allow you to record the information that's being taken. So for instance, your temperature, when it's being taken, you can track that on your smartwatch. So basically, in return, the MFI devices will send all the statistics of your health over to your smartwatch. Therefore, you can monitor it each time that you come to the doctor, each time you have to go to the hospital. Now, another way that can heavily be implemented into the health industry is that if something happens to you, let's say you're an older person or you're unconscious and you can't actually give them any information about you, they can act very quickly by scanning your iWatch and find out all the information health-wise that has to do with you particularly as an individual. Now, when it comes to you being able to track your health statistics, it will be available on your iWatch, but it'll also be available via the HealthBook app. Once again, that's going to be released in iOS 8. Now, I think Apple will also emphasize on the feature and functionality of having an iPod on your smartwatch. I think they also might go as far as adding a 3.5mm headphone jack to be able to plug your earpods in. Now, I think Apple could also heavily implement iBeacon into the smartwatch as well, allowing you to be able to quickly access passport information while at an airport, check your smartwatch to make sure that your front door is locked, or interact as a type of baby monitor via FaceTime. Now, the Apple iWatch will provide incoming call information as well as a photo of the person calling. You'll also receive alerts for calendar events as well as incoming emails. And they're also said to be implementing the ability to get from point A to point B with on-wrist mapping. So to sum it all up, I think the Apple iWatch will be more about convenience and integration. I think Apple will reinvent the smartwatch category and bring fitness and health tracking to the forefront of iOS. Now, we still don't actually know what Tim Cook's plans are until he actually pulls the Apple iWatch out of his pocket on stage. Now, let me know down in the comments section below what you guys would like to see in terms of functionality on the Apple iWatch. Well, that's going to do it for me on this one, guys. If you missed the first episode of the Apple iWatch, what we can expect so far, I will have it linked down below. If you have not yet checked out my free application for iOS and Android, ReviewTheBest, be sure to do so. The link will be available down below. Be sure to check out my website, factoryfreshcontent.com. I also have another YouTube channel that I'm currently running here on YouTube. Be sure to check it out. Once again, it will be linked down below. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, now's a great time to do so. Be sure to drop a thumbs up down below. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.